Your voice doesn't matter. They won't listen as much. But if they see you value their input, they'll do the same with everyone. Thus, your parenting style affects how your children behave both at home and outside the home. Your consistent display of respect, patience, and empathy at home sets the tone for how they will interact with friends, teachers, future partners, and coworkers. In many ways, you're shaping their future relationships with every interaction, even if it seems small. How you handle everyday situations leaves the most lasting impressions. How should you interact with the cashier at the shopping store? How do you talk about other people when they're not there? Do you own up to your mistakes and say sorry when you're wrong? Your kids are watching these small, seemingly unimportant events and learning how to behave professionally and with integrity from them. There will be times when you fail, when your patience dwindles, when you lose it, or when you don't handle a situation as well as you'd like. But that's okay. These mistakes are another excellent chance to teach something important. If you make a mistake, apologize to your kids and explain what you could have done differently. It teaches kids that mistakes are normal and how we handle them matters. If you show humility and a willingness to grow, you teach your kids to accept their flaws and approach life with the goal of learning and improving. Being consistent in what you do builds trust. Because you mean what you say and always follow through, your kids will trust you more and know they can count on you to lead by example. This trust strengthens the parent-child bond and makes them feel safe enough to say what they want to without worrying about what other people think. They receive guidance from an individual who not only articulates values, but also embodies them daily. When there's disagreement or tension, it's simple to react, especially if your feelings are high. However, this is the moment when it's crucial to model the behavior you desire from others. Stay calm, be patient, and be willing to understand if your child yells, treats you poorly, or won't talk. By demonstrating these actions, you demonstrate to your children that handling disagreements with mutual respect and a desire to learn from each other can prevent them from turning into fights. Also, if your kids see you being patient, kind, and responsible, they will naturally want to follow your lead. Showing them what it means to be these things is different from telling them. If you consistently show patience, kindness, and responsibility, they will start to internalize these values, not because you told them to, but because they've seen how they can improve their lives and relationships. Also, the way you act today will have a big effect on how your children act as parents, partners, and members of the community in the future. When they face problems or disagreements in their own lives, they will use the lessons they learn from watching you. Your actions will serve as a guidepost for them, helping them handle the complexities of relationships with grace and honesty. Always remember that how you treat your kids affects how they act and see themselves. When you treat them with respect, patience, and understanding, they start to believe that they deserve it. They feel more valuable not only for what they do, but also for who they are. This sense of self-worth is a powerful tool that will help them build healthy relationships. They will be able to set boundaries and treat others with respect and kindness throughout their lives. In the end, being the kind of person you want your kids to be is one of the best and most long-lasting ways to shape their character. Watching how you handle life's ups and downs, treat others, and handle your own feelings will teach people more than anything you say. By consistently living by the values you want to teach them, you're not just teaching them how to behave. You're showing them how to live with honesty, compassion, and strength. And that's the best gift you can give them. Step 5. Spend time with your kids when you're not fighting. It's important to deal with and fix disrespectful behavior, but your relationship with them can't just be about fighting and punishment. Calm conditions and a focus on building connections and sharing experiences foster a truly strong parent-child bond. These are the times that build trust, respect, and understanding between people. If you're close to your kids even when you're not fighting, they'll show respect and care when things get tough. The first step to connecting with your kids is to give them uninterrupted quality time, free from interruptions from work, technology, or daily tasks. Be fully present and set aside time to genuinely engage with them, whether it's through conversation, shared activities, or just being together in a relaxed setting. This isn't just about spending time with them. It's vital to understand that controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. On the contrary, it's about embracing those feelings and channeling them constructively. Acknowledge the anger, the hurt, and the disappointment, but don't let them rule you. Instead, harness them as tools to guide you toward a solution that strengthens your bond with your child. When your children witness a parent who can maintain composure in the face of adversity, it teaches them a profound life lesson that it is possible to face challenges with grace, maturity, and self-control. They will start to see that strength isn't in shouting louder or retaliating with disrespect, but in rising above the chaos with dignity. Over time, their respect for you deepens, and they begin to mirror this emotional fortitude in their own lives, improving not only their relationship with you, but also their interactions with the world around them. By mastering your emotions, you become a beacon of emotional intelligence, guiding your children toward a healthier, more harmonious connection. Showing empathy. This entails both acknowledging the complexity of their emotions and holding them accountable for their actions. When your children act out, they're often expressing a need, regardless of the situation. They don't fully understand what that need is themselves. It could be the need for attention, the need for, when you respond with empathy, you provide validation, or simply the need to be heard. This gives them the space to explore those needs without the immediate fear of punishment or judgment. When children feel understood, they are more likely to. Defenses are now making it easier to have an open and honest dialogue. Empathy doesn't mean allowing yourself to be disrespected or walked over. It's crucial to establish clear boundaries and communicate to your children that certain behaviors are unacceptable. However, it's equally important to balance those boundaries with the understanding that empathy enables you to maintain your role as a parent. You build a bridge to your child's emotional world. Show them that you care about their feelings and struggles, even though you won't tolerate bad behavior. Imagine this scenario. Your teenager snaps at you, rolls their eyes, and slams the door. After a brief argument, it's easy to interpret this as defiance, maybe even as a personal attack. But instead of responding with anger or demanding immediate respect, take a moment to consider what might be going on behind that display of frustration. Perhaps they are feeling overwhelmed by school pressures, or maybe there's tension in their friendships that they don't know how to cope with. By putting yourself in their shoes and understanding the situation from their perspective, you can approach the situation differently, reacting with force or punishment. Try approaching them with curiosity and concern. You might say something like, "I see that you're upset right now. Do you want to talk about what's bothering you?" This simple shift from criticism to empathy can dramatically change the dynamic between you and your child. Lets them know that you're not just interested in controlling their behavior, but you genuinely care about what they're going through. And when children feel that they're being listened to without judgment, individuals are more likely to open up and share their true feelings. This is where real connection happens. It's also crucial to understand that demonstrating empathy does not automatically make you. Being a parent is not weak. Rather, it requires immense strength and emotional resilience. It takes maturity to step back from conflict and respond with understanding rather than anger. You're approaching the behavior from a place of wisdom. This approach teaches your children that conflict doesn't exist. Always have to end in anger or punishment. It shows them that it's possible to face difficult emotions with grace, maturity, and compassion are skills that will serve them well throughout their lives. Over time, as your children observe this balanced approach in their lives, as they begin to model it in their own lives, they will begin to understand that emotions are something to be managed, not something to control them. They'll learn that empathy is not a sign of weakness. However, it is a potent tool for fostering deeper, more meaningful relationships. And, most importantly, they will start to perceive you not only as a figure of authority, but also as a confidant they can rely on. Times of emotional distress. Of course, this doesn't mean that the conversation will lead to a breakthrough. There will be times when your children still resist opening up, or when they continue to act out despite your best efforts to empathize. But even in these, your consistent empathy will leave an imprint, planting a seed of understanding and compassion. Your children will remember this understanding, which may not sprout immediately, but will grow over time. In the heat of conflict, you choose to approach them with care and concern rather than anger and judgment. And in the long run, this will build a foundation of trust. Respect will fortify your relationship. Understanding your child's behavior on a deeper level enables you to, instead of merely responding to the symptoms, it's important to address the underlying cause of the issue. Struggles in a way that fosters personal growth for both of them and for you as a parenting. The path to empathy is not always easy, but it is worth taking. Through empathy, you can transform moments of division into opportunities for connection, healing, and growth in the end. Showing empathy without giving and helping you maintain. Establishing your authority while fostering a deeper, more compassionate relationship with your children creates opportunities. Honest communication. This allows you to address the underlying causes of the UN's behavior and fosters a sense of transparency. Mutual respect, in the end, strengthens a bond between you and children, are building a foundation of love, trust, and understanding that will last a lifetime. The third step in life is to calmly establish and maintain clear boundaries. Setting clear boundaries is the next crucial step in maintaining calm and understanding in your interactions with your children. Boundaries provide structure, security, and a framework for both your relationship and their behavior. Deeper understanding of accountability. It's important to remember that boundaries are not about controlling. Your children should be calmly guided towards making better choices. By defining what is and isn't acceptable, you create an environment of mutual respect. Respect and clarity are crucial when setting boundaries, and communicating them effectively is just as important as the rules themselves. Instead of resorting to authoritative tones or making calm threats. And assertively explain your expectations. Let your children know what their behaviors are. Be clear about the consequences that will follow if those boundaries are crossed. Children need to understand that boundaries are not arbitrary or negotiable based on your mood. Firmness maintains stability while maintaining a calm and non-threatening tone. This approach teaches them that their actions have consequences without igniting emotional conflict or power. When you communicate boundaries in a calm and consistent manner, your children start to understand. These guidelines aim to foster a healthy, respectful, and loving environment rather than solely focusing on punishment. Start to realize that boundaries are there to help, not to restrict them. Unnecessarily, this understanding fosters a sense of security. Knowing that you care enough to set limits provides them with a framework they can rely on. Boundaries also serve as essential life. Children thrive when they understand the rules and expectations that guide their actions. They may feel lost or overwhelmed by the world around them, but with clearly defined boundaries, they acquire a sense of order and purpose. Learning how to people who want to handle their relationships and tasks in a way that is good for everyone must set reasonable limits. It is important not to be too strict or too lax with the rules. Too many rules can make your child less independent and creative, while too few can make them feel lost and unsure of how to behave. When setting rules, try to find a middle ground that gives structure but still leaves room for personal growth and expression. For example, if your child consistently breaks curfew instead of yelling or giving harsh punishments, calmly explain why the curfew is in place and what will happen if they don't follow it. Establish a clear boundary. The curfew is 9 p.m., as your health and safety rely on arriving home at a reasonable time. If you arrive late again, you will be prohibited from using your phone for a week. Establishing unambiguous boundaries demonstrates to your child that their actions carry tangible consequences, not merely arbitrary rules. Make sure consequences are fair and appropriate for the behavior. If the punishment is too harsh, your child may become angry, which will lead to more conflict instead of cooperation. However, if the penalties are too light, they may not follow the rules. Finding the right balance will help your child understand how important it is to follow the rules without feeling unfairly targeted or overly restricted. Setting limits while staying calm can also help you avoid the emotional fights that often come with discipline. If you react to your child's behavior with anger or frustration, the situation can quickly turn into a fight, leaving both of you feeling upset and disconnected. But if you stay calm, you send a clear message. You set the limit, but your intention is not to instill guilt or shame in them. You help them make better decisions, and the boundary is one way. This method of setting boundaries is particularly beneficial as it aids your child in comprehending the concept of responsibility. They realize that their actions affect school, work, relationships, and home. Every choice they make has a cost or a reward. By setting clear limits at home, you make them ready for this reality and teach them that their actions have consequences and that they need to be responsible for them. Boundaries also help your child learn self-discipline over time. When their actions consistently affect their results, they start to think more carefully about their choices. They start to predict the results of their behavior and learn how to control themselves. Self-discipline is an important skill that will help them make better decisions in both personal and professional settings throughout their lives. Also, by setting limits in a loving and calm way, you show your kids that it's possible to be firm without losing control and assertive without being mean. This teaches them that being strong doesn't mean yelling or demanding obedience, but standing firm in your values and expectations in a calm and sure way. Their calm will improve as they start doing the same. Power and mental balance. Additionally, setting boundaries helps you and your child respect each other. If you're consistent in communicating expectations and giving fair consequences, they'll trust your judgment. They may not always want to follow your rules, but they will respect your love and concern for them. This respect is the basis of a healthy long-term relationship in which they feel safe in your guidance and confident in your leadership. It's also important to review and change the boundaries you set as your child grows and matures. What may have been appropriate for a younger child may not be necessary for a teenager or young adult. This gives your child a sense that boundaries aren't just for control's sake, but to help them grow at every stage of life. Telling your child about boundaries, especially as they get older, is another way to emphasize them. This not only fosters mutual respect and a sense of duty, but also demonstrates your appreciation for their opinions and your willingness to collaborate with them to create a plan that benefits both of you. It's important to lead by example. Children constantly reflect the actions they see around them, especially those of their parents. They learn much more from what they see than from what they hear, even though words can be helpful. Your acts are what your kids will remember. If you want them to respect you, you have to respect them first. If you want them to listen to you, you have to show that you are willing to do so. Every tense moment is a chance to show them how to behave the way you want them to. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons helpful, please leave a comment below to let me know you are still with me. Imagine that when your child is angry or defiant, they are not only listening to what you say, but also closely watching your every move to see how you handle the situation. How do you react when the tension rises? Be calm and patient, or let your emotions rule. Your ability to stay calm and thoughtful in these tough situations sends a stronger message than any lecture or reprimand. Showing your kids how to stay calm teaches them a vital life lesson. How do you handle disagreements with grace and adults? Not having to be perfect is okay if you want to be a successful model. The impossible goal of perfectionism will only stress you and your kids. Instead, maintain consistency in your actions, reactions, and values. This will have a far greater impact than any fleeting attempts at perfection. To perfection, children don't need their parents to be flawless. They need to see that you practice what you preach. They need to witness your efforts to live by the values you try to instill in them. For instance, if you want your children to be respectful in their interactions, show them respect even in moments of disagreement. It's easy to be respectful when things are going smoothly, but the true test comes during times of conflict when emotions run high. It's natural to feel frustrated or defensive, but if you respond to their disrespect with harshness or dismissiveness, you inadvertently teach them that this behavior is acceptable. On the other hand, if you remain respectful, even in the heat of an argument, you demonstrate the power of maintaining dignity and respect, even when it's challenging. Let's say you want your children to develop the habit of listening attentively to others. You must be willing to extend that same courtesy to them. This means being fully present when they speak to you, giving them your undivided attention, and acknowledging their thoughts and feelings without interrupting or dismissing them. Children are very smart and can tell right away if you're not paying attention or are looking at something else. If they think, making memories that strengthen your emotional bond. When kids know that you value them not only when there is a problem, but also when things are going well, it builds trust and a sense of security. Active listening is one of the most powerful ways to connect with someone. Give them time to talk about their feelings, experiences, and thoughts, and listen without interrupting or judging. Listening to them sends a strong message that their voice matters, that they are important, and that they can come to you with their problems, joys, and curiosities. This act of listening not only strengthens your relationship, it also creates a culture of open communication. In addition to talking and listening, sharing activities with your kids that they feel safe doing can be a wonderful way to improve your relationship. These activities don't have to be fancy or expensive. You could play a game, go for a walk, cook a meal together, or work together. Working on a project together can help you connect with your kids. These shared experiences will foster memories that fortify your mental connection with them, fostering a sense of belonging and acceptance. The more positive experiences you share with them, the more they will associate your connection with feelings of safety and warmth, which will inevitably lead to increased respect and care. It's important to know that making these connections also makes the inevitable fights less common and less intense. If a child feels like they have a strong, positive relationship with their parent, one based on trust, love, and mutual respect, they are less likely to do things that hurt that relationship. The emotional bond acts as a buffer during difficult times. Instead of viewing conflict as a battle to win or a power struggle, they perceive it as a temporary disruption in a loving relationship. This changes the whole dynamic and makes it easier to solve conflicts through empathy and understanding instead of anger and defense. Also, kids are more likely to follow rules and guidance when they feel emotionally linked to their parents. They know that the limits and rules you set aren't random or controlling, but rather come from a place of caring about their well-being. Thanks for this. Their appreciation for you increases as they understand that your role extends beyond merely enforcing rules, but also involves guiding them through life's obstacles to foster growth and happiness. It's important for your kids' emotional growth that they feel like they belong, and when they feel deeply connected to you, they know they have a safe, loving place to turn to no matter what happens in their lives. This sense of security helps them develop a positive self-image and a greater capacity for empathy and respect in their relationships with others. Basically, the connection you build with them becomes a foundation for how they will relate to the world around them. They learn how to give and receive respect because they've experienced it firsthand in their relationship with you. Creating these moments of connection requires showing your kids that you love and accept them for who they are, not just what they do. Celebrate their strengths, encourage their interests, and let them know that you love and respect them just for being themselves. This gives them a strong sense of self-worth and confidence, which makes them more likely to behave in a respectful and kind way. When kids feel loved and valued, they are less likely to act out or do undesirable things to get attention. Instead, they will naturally choose to behave in ways that show you respect and love. People form strong bonds that make acceptance easier when they connect this way. If your kids feel loved, accepted, and appreciated, they will show that love and appreciation in their actions toward you. They will be more likely to listen, cooperate, and show respect, not because they want to avoid punishment or please you, but because they care about keeping the positive relationship you've built. With this approach, respect comes naturally from love and connection, not demand. Create moments of connection with your kids to strengthen your bond and prepare them for future relationships. The skills they acquire from these positive experiences are invaluable. This will aid them in their interactions with friends, teachers, co-workers, and potential partners. By having healthy, loving relationships with others, you are teaching them how to build strong, respectful connections throughout their lives. These moments of connection also help your children feel emotionally grounded, which is especially important in today's fast-paced and often stressful world. When they know they can rely on you for love, support, and understanding, it gives them the emotional resilience to handle life's challenges with confidence. They know they have a secure base to return to, which gives them a greater sense of calm and composure. This emotional grounding further. Family vacation or deciding on new house rules, ask for their input. Let them feel like an active participant in the decision-making process. This gives them a sense of empowerment and helps them understand that respect is a two-way street. It's about considering others' perspectives as well as expressing their own. Also, don't forget to acknowledge their progress. It's easy to focus on the negative behaviors, but positive reinforcement is just as important, if not more so, in shaping your child's development. Take time to recognize and celebrate the small improvements, even if they seem minor in the grand scheme of things. A simple acknowledgement of effort, like noting when they've been more respectful or when they've made an effort to improve their behavior, can go a long way in reinforcing the behaviors you want to see more of. Children thrive on positive feedback. It encourages them to continue growing and striving to do better when they see that their positive efforts are being noticed and appreciated. They are more likely to repeat those behaviors knowing that they are valued and respected in return. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Parents, one of the most important things you can do is admit your mistakes when you need to. If you've overreacted or handled the situation badly, don't be afraid to say sorry. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's one of the best ways to show strength and humility. Saying you're wrong teaches kids that mistakes are normal and that learning from them is okay. You also show them that even adults are always trying to get better, which can be very empowering for them to see. Lastly, it's crucial to maintain a long-term perspective, particularly within the family unit. It doesn't happen with quick fixes or instant effects. Every effort you make to have a better, more respectful relationship with your kids is an investment in the long-term health of your family. Don't give up if you don't see changes right away. Over time, love, patience, and consistency will bring about the change you want. By following these last few tips, you'll be better prepared to deal with the problems you face every day with more serenity. You can build a more peaceful family life based on love and understanding for each other. How do you react when your kids ignore or mistreat you? Now that you have these tools, you can handle these situations with confidence, emotional intelligence, and calm. Remember that staying calm, understanding, setting clear limits, and giving your kids time to think will not only make your relationship with them better, but it will also help them grow up to be more respectful, responsible, and aware. This concludes our guide on dealing with disrespectful kids and fostering a strong, respectful family bond. Take a moment to think about what we've talked about so far and what you've learned. Have any of these 6 steps really stuck with you? We want you to think about one key lesson or approach that you think could really make a difference in your family life. What will you do starting today? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below and share the one thing you've learned that you use in your family dynamics. Your experiences can also help others, motivate people in the community who are going through the same things. Please leave a note below if you liked the video. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos on how to make relationships stronger and healthier. Thanks for watching. and we look forward to hearing from you. Reinforces their ability to behave in a respectful way, even when they are upset or angry. It's essential to give your kids time and space to think about how they're changing, especially when it comes to how they respond to authority and respect boundaries. Changes in behavior or attitude don't always happen right away, even if you want them to. Sometimes the biggest changes take a while. When you give kids the space they need, you let them go through a natural process of self-reflection and personal growth that is much more meaningful than any forced response. When kids have time to think about what they did without the pressure of immediate consequences or the demand for instant remorse, they are more likely to internalize the lessons you've taught them. Too much pressure to say sorry or change behavior right away can often fail and lead to resistance, anger, or even more, defiance. Allowing your kids to learn why respect is important and how their actions affect others, including you, is possible when you are patient. Giving them space doesn't mean you're ignoring the problem or thinking their behavior isn't important. Instead, you're helping them learn self-awareness and emotional intelligence skills that will help them for the rest of their lives. Eventually, they will start to think about what they did. They will consider the boundaries you've established and the potential consequences. Crossing those boundaries is a lot more powerful than just following the rules out of fear of getting in trouble. It helps them understand the deeper reasons behind respect and responsibility, which is the basis of mature, respectful behavior. Giving your kids time to think empowers them to govern their own growth. This way, they learn that change doesn't always have to come from outside sources, but can also come from within. It fosters self-reliance and accountability as they comprehend the tangible impact of their actions on others and their own self-worth. This step requires patience on your part. It's normal to want to see results right away after setting limits or talking about a problem, but maturation happens over time. It takes time for children, especially as they go through different stages of development, to fully understand and apply what they've learned. Even though the lessons you impart today might not fully sink in until much later, rest assured that you are sowing the seeds of wisdom. If you try to force a change too quickly or demand that they admit their mistakes before they've had time to process their emotions, you may unintentionally push them into a defensive position. When children perceive themselves as being cornered, they tend to resist or rebel against perceived control. But by stepping back and giving them space, you give them the respect to come to their own conclusions and insights, which makes the lessons they learn much more powerful. You and your kids must be patient and trust the process. With the right help, the rules you've set and the lessons you've taught will eventually stick. Not controlling every moment or telling them what to do, and teaching them respect, responsibility, and personal growth. Here are some additional tips to strengthen your relationship and improve communication. Now that you know these 6 important steps for dealing with disrespect in a calm and constructive way, let's look at some more tips to help you strengthen your relationship with your kids and improve communication within the family. First and foremost, learn to let go of small arguments. You don't have to fight over every little thing. Choosing your battles wisely allows you to concentrate on the matters that truly matter, avoiding daily conflicts over trivial issues. This does not imply disregarding issues. Rather, it involves strategically determining when to intervene and when to allow natural consequences to impart the necessary lesson. For instance, if your child consistently leaves their room messy, You could establish a more significant rule and link it to a significant consequence, such as restricting screen time until the room is tidy. The point is to focus on the bigger lessons and let go of the little things that can cause too much conflict over time. Your kids will understand that not every issue requires a confrontation, and they will learn to take responsibility for their actions without constant reminders or questioning. Including your kids in family decisions and giving them a say in things that touch them directly is another powerful way to connect with them. Not only strengthens their sense of belonging, but also fosters a deeper understanding of responsibility and respect. When children feel that their opinions are valued, they are more likely to approach family life with a sense of ownership and cooperation. This also helps them develop problem-solving skills as they learn the way the consequences of their choices and work collaboratively toward solutions. For instance, if you're planning a